Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Sarah. Today we're going to talk about what you should know before visiting Colombia. Where are you planning to visit? Because Colombia is not a very big country. However, it does have a lot of diversity. So, for example, if you plan on going to Bogota, be aware that Bogota is elevated, which means the climate is going to be colder. So make sure you bring the appropriate clothing for cooler weather. Also, if you're planning on visiting Medellin, be aware that it is like spring all the time, which means it rains a lot. So be prepared for that. Or if you plan on just going to the coast of Colombia, like Cartagena or Palomino or Santa Marta, be aware that it is really hot there. So don't forget to bring your sunscreen if you go to the coast. So you can have 3 different types of climate. That does not even account for if you do go to the Amazon. You want to make sure that you have the yellow fever vaccine. But you also, depending on how long your trip is, the yellow fever vaccine you can actually get in Bogota, but they want you to have it 7 days before entering into the Amazon. But you can do your own research on that, but that's just something for you to know if you're coming here for a long time and you want to travel around, but you're landing in Bogota, you can see if they offer it, and it's typically when they do offer it, it is free. The second thing that you should know is I would download Duolingo and start practicing a little bit just with basics, because if you have the basics down, it will go a long way. Even though you're like, well, I'm not fluent, I might not know what they're saying, at least if you can kind of understand to communicate just by saying, hi, how are you? Where are you from? Because that's what you're gonna get asked. You're gonna get asked a lot is, where are you from? How do you like my country? This is going to be like taxi drivers, Uber drivers. They're going to ask you, like, how long are you visiting for? What are you doing here? Why did you come here? Where are you from? How do you like my country? So if you can kind of get like maybe like 5 phrases down that you understand, and also download Google Translate, because that will help you a lot. Even if you can't communicate, you can type into Google and they have the voice type, so you can click it and they can talk into it and it can translate for you. So that will really help a lot with if you're not a fluent Spanish speaker, or you're working on, maybe you're coming here to learn Spanish, but those couple of things will help you when you first get here. Don't expect the food here to be spicy. One of the things that I've noticed a lot of people who come to South America don't realize is that South America is a completely different continent than North America. In North America, you have Mexico, and we're very accustomed to eating, if you think of Latino food, you think of spicy Mexican food. Well, Colombian food is much different, and it is not spicy. So here we might have arepas, we eat a lot of eggs, beans, and rice, which can be very similar also to, like in Mexico, beans and rice. However, it is a very different flavor. There is no spice, and if you want spice, you're gonna have a really hard time finding it. So bring your Tabasco if you need spicy food all the time. Something else is that don't be afraid to eat the street food. Here in Colombia, there are a lot of empanadas and there are a lot of arepas on the streets, and there's also like this meat stick they cook on a grill, and it's meat and it has like a potato and like a little sausage wiener on top. They're just like street food, so don't be afraid to try the street foods. And when you're trying the empanadas, depending on where you're at, they will have a spicy, like pico de gallo sauce to put on your empanada, so you can find some spice, a little bit of spice. If you're a really spicy person, you're not going to find what you want, but it will give you a little bit of a kick. After living here for so long, I now cannot even handle spice, to be honest. So if that is something that if you're coming here and you're expecting the food to be spicy like Mexican food, just be aware that it is nothing like Mexican food, and it is going to be a lot more flavors that are used. The flavors they use are what the food already has. So it's going to be a completely different flavor. So don't expect spicy Mexican food. But do try all the empanadas. And if you're a vegetarian coming here, you're gonna have a hard time. There are a lot of places in Bogota and Medellin that do cater to vegetarians and vegans. It's becoming a lot more popular now. However, if you're in a little town, little pueblo like where I live, it's just gonna be non-existent. You're gonna be eating a lot of rice and beans, but maybe not beans, because a lot of times they cook their beans with pork or a pork base, so that will be out, and then it's gonna be difficult. So just be aware. Unless you're gonna eat eggs. You can eat eggs all the time, they have eggs everywhere. Don't be afraid to use public transportation when you come here. It is very easy to get around this country. You can fly anywhere for pretty reasonable prices if you're in Medellin or Bogota. In a lot of the smaller places like Cartagena, San Andreas, even if you're flying to like Manizales, I believe they have like an airport out there. So a lot of places have airports and small planes that do fly. Also, there are buses that go everywhere. So if you want to go anywhere, you can take a bus, which I've done videos on public transportation here. It's very easy to get around. But also be aware, if you're going to take the bus, it's going to be crowded, sometimes it's going to be loud, they do play music, and at night the buses are freezing. And with that said, the drivers kind of drive crazy sometimes, as well as they speed along and you look out the window and there's like a cliff. So when you get onto a bus, just be aware that it might be really scary. However, I've taken bus all over the country and I've had no issues, but with that said, you just never know. So be aware, the buses are a bit crazy, a little bit scary, but that's kind of with anything. Be aware that in the big cities, they do take credit cards. Once you leave the big cities, most places only take cash. Sometimes you should know that ATMs don't always work everywhere you go, and sometimes there's only one ATM. If you come in to where I live, there's only one ATM, sometimes it doesn't work. If you're going to, for example, Palomino, there are no ATMs, so you need to have cash. I actually went to Palomino once and did not know this, so I had no money. I had no money to pay anybody. I had no idea. So I had to get a guy on a motorbike to drive me 20 minutes up the road, take me to the ATM to drive me back. I was lucky, everything worked out, but sometimes your card doesn't work. You just never know. So be aware. Always have a little bit of cash, even if it's just a little bit, just to get you a room or a food, somewhere to sit, that get Wi-Fi. So make sure that, yes, you can use the credit cards in big cities, and in small towns, they're going to mostly take cash. I'm a huge fan of Charles Schwab. If you do not have a Charles Schwab account, you need to get one before you travel anywhere, because you can use your card at any ATM, and no matter the fees that they charge, the Charles Schwab will reimburse you. So you will always get the money back for the ATM fees. So it doesn't matter what ATM you use. So, and the best way to get the best rate for your money is to use an ATM. It's not to go to a kiosk and exchange bills. It is to take it out of the ATM machine. So if you don't have Charles Schwab, I recommend getting it. And then when you come here, I pay with everything in cash, because right now the dollar is pretty strong against the peso. So it's like it's a really good time to visit, actually. So along with the money thing, also be aware, if you're taking a bus or you need to use the bathroom, be aware that you're going to be charged about 500 pesos to use the bathroom. And if you want toilet paper, you're going to be charged another 500. So bus stations, some restaurants, they're going to charge you to use the bathroom. So it's always good to have like coins on you so you can pay to go to the bathroom. And you might have to stand in line also for this. So it is very common standing in lines here, using the bathroom, paying to use the bathroom. So if you have to pay, don't be surprised. So from the US, we're not used to carrying a lot of change with us. We don't like it. Here they love it. You're always going to need change. So don't throw away your coins. Not throw away, but don't give your coins away or think you're never going to use them, because you will use them more than you think. Another thing that I do when I'm traveling here is I always have a little bit of money in one of my pockets, because in case someone comes up to you and does rob you, because yes, that does happen, take your money and throw it. That's in your pocket. But you could have maybe more money in another pocket or in your purse or in your bag. So kind of divide up your money so it's not all in one space. That will prevent, if something does go wrong, you're like, okay, well that was only like 30,000 pesos. I have more here. So you don't ever run out of money in case you do get robbed, because that does happen and it happens frequently. So just be mentally prepared as well as physically prepared if that does happen. Most cities here you can drink the tap water. You cannot drink tap water on the coast, but if you're in a major city, drinking tap water is fine. And if you're not sure if you can drink the tap water, just ask, because the locals will tell you if you can drink it or not. So just ask. Most of the places you can. Do not drink it in Cartagena, or do not drink it in Santa Marta. But I have read some places that you can drink it in certain places on the coast if they have it filtered, but that will be if you're staying somewhere where there's a lot of tourists, or like your hotel has filtered water throughout the hotel or something. But other than that, good rule of thumb, cities you can drink it, coast you can't drink it. Smaller towns, depends on where you're at. Here we are not supposed to drink the tap water. I do sometimes, it doesn't bother me. But if you're in town, you can drink it because it's a different water system. So just check and ask what you can or can't do. If you are like me and you travel with your computer all the time and you're sitting at a cafe and you want to leave your computer and go to the bathroom, don't do that. People might take your computer, take your bag, so never leave your stuff unattended. Even if you're on the beach and you want to go swimming, always have your bag with you, or if you don't have someone to watch your stuff, don't bring your bag with you. Leave it all in your hotel room and lock it up. So just a good rule of thumb is don't leave any of your stuff unattended, because people do come and steal things. So that's something that you should be aware of. No matter where you're at, you should be careful and cautious. And don't ask someone sitting next to you to watch your stuff, because that stuff might end up disappearing and that person being like, oh, I don't know what happened, because that does happen here. So never leave your stuff unattended. When it comes to using the toilet, when you get here, you might notice that they have a trash can next to the toilet, and you might see a lot of toilet paper in there, because here, almost everywhere in South America, you're not supposed to throw toilet paper into the toilet because of the pipes and I don't know what else, but the piping is really old. So you will see signs on the bathroom, do not throw toilet paper into the toilet, and these signs will probably be in English and in Spanish. So just throw it into the wastebasket next to you. Just do that everywhere. It just saves a lot of time and trouble, and you don't want to clog the toilet as well, because that can happen. If you were coming here and you're looking to get a SIM card, you can find a SIM card in most cities. Make sure your phone is unlocked, and then the person at the phone store can help you sign you up for minutes or data if you are looking for that. If not, is what I do is I have a SIM card, and I have Google Fi, which I love Google Fi because it works almost everywhere here. But if you want a local SIM card, take your unlocked phone, and you can probably get a SIM card anywhere. A lot of tiendas sell them, and then when your minutes run out, you can get charged at, like, the lady on the side of the street. It'll say like charged carga, and you can just do, I just went and paid 10 mil pesos, and the lady added to my SIM card. So you just show her the number, your phone number, they do a little typey in the computer, and you have minutes on your phone. So it's very easy as long as your phone is unlocked. Buy a SIM card. It's about 45,000 pesos, which is like $8 maybe. And you're supposed to register it as well. I've never actually registered my card with my cedula when I had one, or with my passport. And it still works, but apparently if you don't register it, it can stop working, and then your phone number will go away. But if it's your Colombian number here anyways, and you already have your other number, it doesn't really matter. You can just buy another SIM card, but it can lock you out of your phone, so be careful with that. Like I said, I actually take the SIM card out of my phone. I just download WhatsApp, so I never actually have data. I just wanted a local WhatsApp number. But they're really easy to find. You can get them at the airport, you can get them in any city, you can find them at local tiendas. If you're wondering about plugs, the plugs here are the exact same as in the US. So you don't have to buy a converter, you don't have to buy anything fancy. Your normal 2-prong plug will go right into the plugs here. I've never had an issue with anything. The only thing I do caution is sometimes if you're in an older building and you notice that the plugs don't look great, I wouldn't use them. In that case, you can buy like a surge protector for your plugs. Like I use one on my computer, and anytime at night, I always unplug everything, because we also don't have lightning rods, and there's a lot of storms here. So if the storm hits something, I don't want it to destroy my computer, because I have had my chargers get destroyed. Even though the plugs are the same, the wiring is a bit older, and sometimes it can cause destruction of your cord in your device. So just be aware of that. So if you do have like a surge protector, you can even bring that from home, because the plugs are the same and they'll protect your things. Which sometimes, I mean, we use one here, so but I didn't usually carry one with me, and I have had cords destroyed because of that. So just be aware that that can happen. Even though the plugs are the same, the voltage and the oldness of the stuff, the wiring here, can affect you. Also, I'm in the countryside, so it might be different. It is different in the cities. If you're in the city, everything is newer, more up to date. But if you're gonna travel countryside, off the beaten tourist track, then definitely get a surge protector for the old wirings in the places. When you go out to eat, you're gonna need to have a lot of patience because they don't work for tips here. And you are gonna have to say, hi, I would like to order, I would like a menu. So basically be patient, and it will help you a lot by not expecting everything to be like it is in your home country, because it is not. It is a lot more chill, a lot more laid back, and it's a lot less stressful being here. And your dining experience will be a lot more calm if you're just aware that no one's gonna bother you, but you will have to ask for things if you want them. So if you're one of those people who is afraid to ask for something, if you're afraid to ask, you'll never get it. You could sit there all day and they will never bring you your check until you ask for it. So it's gonna make you kind of be a little bit more like, I need to ask for a menu, ask for my check, ask for this if you don't get something. And it's just culture, it's just how it is here, and they're not gonna be upset for you asking. It's just everybody asks, and they use their hands, they wave you down. It's how it is. So just be aware that it's a lot more laid back, it's a lot slower pace, it's a lot more calmer and less stress. And I like it much more. Here, one thing that when you do come here, is you need to try is the juices. They have juices everywhere. However, with that said, if you don't want sugar added to your juice, you need to tell them no sugar, because they will automatically add sugar to everything. The Colombians like everything sweet. So when I would order a juice, before I knew this, I thought, wow, this is really sweet. The fruits are a lot sweeter here, which they are a lot sweeter here because they're fresh and natural, but they also add a lot of sugar to everything. So you need to say like less sugar or no sugar, and then the juice will be not as sweet. It will still be good. I drink mine without sugar all the time, but just be aware it's not going to be as sweet as you might expect because they put sugar in it. So if you've had a juice somewhere and you didn't say that and it was extra good and sweet, and then you have one without sugar, you're going to notice a difference. So I don't know, if you're on vacation, who cares? But if you're like me and you don't want to eat all that sugar, just say no sugar. If you're a beer drinker, they have 2 beers here that you need to try, the Águila and Club Colombias. They're like the local beers. They're usually pretty reasonably priced. The Águila is much cheaper than the Club Colombias, but they're still pretty cheap. I think they're like less than $1 per beer, maybe $1.50 per beer. And if you're a liquor drinker, their liquor here is aguardiente. It's like a black licorice flavor, and it's clear, and it's very common for someone in a club to buy a whole bottle and give you like a little cup and kind of pour it in, and everyone just drinks it. So, but with that said, if you do go out to the bars, be very careful about leaving your open drink setting somewhere, because it is very common for someone to put something into your drink and drug you. So that is just something to be aware of. If you're at the club drinking, make sure to not leave your drinks alone. Do not expect anyone to watch them, kind of like your belongings, as well as just don't leave your drink setting down. Don't let it, when you're out, if you're dancing, don't carry it because someone can put something in it. Make sure you're always with someone you know, like, and trust. Yeah, so be very cautious when you're out, especially if it involves drinking. But if you're just sitting at a cafe having a couple beers, much different environment. Yeah, so always kind of like be very cautious when you are in a different country. Use your common sense and you will have a great time. Hopefully these tips have helped. If you have any questions about anything, drop me a comment. If I left something out, which I'm sure I did because there are so many things to know about being here, living here, traveling here, that I cannot cover it all in one video. But drop me a question if you have a question, drop me a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe, or not like if you don't like my content, which is completely fine. There are a lot of us on YouTube. So thank you so much. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.